In making these short films once a week, we often lack the ability to truly savour something. Whether it's on the day rushing from station to canal lock to Roman road, or whether it's behind the scenes, planning, preparing, writing, scripting, editing, publishing or promoting, you're often left wondering what that place would look like and feel like if you just had the time to savour it properly. Time flies by even more so, and with every day that seemingly passes shorter than the last, I'm often left with a nagging feeling of wanting to leave my mark on the landscape. It's easy to go on and go through life, just going through the motions, protecting and caring for the ones that you love, and often the ones you don't know you love, but being the best person you possibly can. And I guess if that's as good as it gets, you should probably be proud. But there it is again, that nagging feeling. I want to leave my mark on the landscape. I want to score that victory for humanity. I want to create value for you. I want to leave my mark on the landscape. Today we had the opportunity to meet someone who not only created a monumental value for his community, but also left that mark on the landscape. He built a long barrow.
Welcome to the Long Barrow All Canning. This modern long barrow built about 9 years ago, right in the middle of Puget Vale. This is All Canning's, the village just over there, Marlborough Downs over there, Kenneth Navan Canal just running here, overlooked by the Downs, and I'm looking across that way. I can see Adam's grave. There's also Kitchen Barrow, another long barrow, so 2 long barrows looking down on us. It's sort of a very ancient landscape, and this is a modern interpretation. In a way, I don't really know. It's a combination of two or three things. One of them was, for a long time I thought, wouldn't it be nice to make a mark on the landscape, because we're surrounded by the hills where there are massive marks on the landscape. But that's not really a good enough reason. We tend to have a core of the farm. We think, oh, I wouldn't mind spending eternity there.
Yeah.
But most people don't have somewhere special to put cremated remains. The idea of having somewhere special kept going around in my mind. Talking about the Neolithic, thought, well, that's what these barrows were. These were the community places that people could come back to and revisit and remember. And it all sort of just fell together into this sort of mad idea. One of those lovely frosty mornings, sun was shining, bit of mist in the valley, and I suddenly thought, this is the place. It really was, this is the place. 20 minutes later I had the whole plan in my head, just as quick as that. No one else had built one, there was nothing to go on. So I put planning permission in for it, and I hoped they'd turn me down so I could then spend the rest of my life saying, oh, I had this great idea, but killjoy, but no, it went through very, very easily. If you've ever done any building, there's planning permission, there's also building control.
Yeah.
So I then had to ring up building control and say, I want to build this long barrow. And they went, well, you'll need disabled access and lighting, and can I ring you back? Because I've not dealt with one before. So no, you've not dealt with one before. But we got around that. It's a structure, so we're all happy. So we didn't have to make it to 21st century. I mean, the whole ethos of this is, it's not a copy, it's reimagined to be useful. There's nothing here the builders of the original long barrows wouldn't recognise. They could turn up here and go, see, I know exactly how you built that.
Yeah.
There's not even any concrete, lime mortar to even it out. The stonemasons decided that concrete wouldn't last long enough. I got planning permission, but I had no idea how to build a long barrow. I didn't know anyone who knew how to do it, and it was like, great idea, now I'm going to sit on it and we're going to work out how to build it. And a stonemason called Geraint Davis happened to pick up a newspaper on his holidays, which he didn't normally do, and there was an interview with me about this mad idea. He knew immediately how to build it, and he contacted me out of the blue and said, Tim, I know how to build it. And I said, thank goodness one of us does, because I've got no idea. So what we wanted to do was obviously have sarsen stone exterior, because we are in the land of the Sarsens. Interior is dry stone walling. The sarsen stones are up from very close to West Woods. A good source of sarsen stones. And farmer up there had dug them out when he was building a pit, and they'd gone to the reclamation yard, and I just happened to find them by accident in the reclamation yard.
Yep.
And like, you've got sarsen stones. So that's how we ended up with these beautiful stones. Biggest part of this construction, so this barrow is 70 metres long. It weighs about 4,000 tonnes. I know that because we brought the chalk in. Unlike the ancient barrows, we haven't got any ditches. We originally were going to have ditches to dig and pile up.
I see, yeah, okay.
But talked to my neighbours and, oh, we're digging a big hole in the ground, we're going to have thousands of tonnes of chalk. Would that help? We've added several little, some call them Easter eggs, you know.
Yep.
So there's two different sorts of blue stones in there, the same two sorts as we've got at Stonehenge. There's actually a flint from the Stonehenge field that's in the wall.
Okay.
There's even an ammonite fossil in the entrance, which is a tip to Stony Littleton. I've even, or Geraint actually even twisted a couple of the big uprights, the big monoliths at the end, 10 degrees, which is a hat tip to Stonehenge, where the biggest trilithons twisted 10 degrees so it lines up with midwinter sunrise and sunset by being at 80 degrees. So little tiny things that maybe one day someone will notice them and work it out. But as you go in, you'll see the sarsen gets smaller and finer, and then there's the door with the non-symbolic symbol on it. I was trying to find something that was sort of universal and didn't exclude anybody, because we were very... And I actually came up with the idea of DNA, just came to mind.
Yep.
Great Aunt Maud was an important person. She gave us so much. We want to remember her. We want to do something suitable for her. And that is the underlying key to what you're doing with something like this, is you're enabling people to both monumentalise, remember people, and provide a space they can come back and remember. And that's what they do here. A lot of this is post-rationalisation. We just knew what we wanted to do in our minds, and then you go, that's why we wanted to do it. We didn't know why we wanted to do it, but we did. Part of the plan was, you know, how was I going to afford this big structure? You know, it's not my folly. And we came up with this. Well, I came up with a sort of community funding model, where people bought the niches inside. They reserved the niches inside, and the payment that they gave for the niches paid for the building. So at the end of the day, within 2 years, it had been fully reserved out.
Right.
And all the building costs were then paid off.
Yeah.
We were sort of even then.
Yeah.
A wonderfully nice place to be, that we didn't have to worry about how we were paying this off or anything like that. So that was the model. The sales were to pay for the building, and from now on, we just ask for small donations when people come to use it, something like that, just to pay for the candles and time and insurance and boring stuff like that. Physically, it's, because of the rain, it's quite damp. We didn't do any damp proofing. It's also very constant temperature in there. But as you know, to me it doesn't feel, it's not claustrophobic. It's quite large. It's larger than you probably expect from here. But as for the atmosphere, I think that's for you rather than for me to say what you feel, because I don't put words in your mouth. I know what I feel in there, and I know what other people felt in there. So I'll be interested to see what you feel of it.